The Lives of the Saints by the Reverend Alban Butler, taken from the 4th edition, published in 1954. September 22nd, St. Maurice and his companions. Diocletian, in the beginning of his reign, was no enemy to the Christian religion, and employed many who openly professed it near his own person, and in posts of trust and importance, as Eusebius assures us. Yet even private governors and the giddy populace were at liberty to indulge the blindest passion and fury against the servants of Christ, and Maximian, on certain extraordinary occasions, stained his progress with the blood of many martyrs. The Thebean legion was one of those which were sent by Diocletian out of the east to compose his army for his expedition into Gaul. Maximian, in crossing the Alps, made a halt with his army some days, that the soldiers might repose themselves in their tedious march, while some detachment filed off towards Triers. They were then arrived at Auctorium, at that time a considerable city on the Rhone, above the lake of Geneva, now at a village called Martignac, or Martigny, in the Valais. Its episcopal see seems to have been transferred to Sion in the 6th century. Here Maximian issued out an order that the whole army should join in offering sacrifice to the gods for the success of their expedition. The Thebean legion hereupon withdrew itself and encamped near Aganum, now called St. Maurice, 3 leagues from Auctorium. The emperor sent them repeated orders to return to the camp and join in the sacrifices, and upon their constant and unanimous refusal, he commanded them to be decimated. Thus every 10th man was put to death, according as the lot fell, the rest exhorting one another all the while to perseverance. After the first decimation, a second was commanded, unless the soldiers obeyed the orders given, but they cried out over the whole camp that they would rather suffer all extremities than to do anything contrary to their holy religion. They were principally encouraged by 3 of their general officers, Maurice or Mauritius, Exuperius, and Candidus. The emperor sent fresh threats that it was in vain they confided in their multitude, and that if they persisted in their disobedience, not a man among them should escape death. The legion, by the advice of their generous leaders, answered him by a dutiful remonstrance, the substance of which was as follows: "We are your soldiers, but are servants of the true God. We owe you military service and obedience, but we cannot renounce him who is our Creator and Master, and also yours, even whilst you reject him. You command us to punish the Christians. Behold, we are all such. We confess God the Father, author of all things, and his Son, Jesus Christ. We have seen our companions slain without lamenting them, and we rejoice at their honor. Neither this extremity to which we are reduced, nor any provocation, hath tempted us to revolt. We have arms in our hands, but we do not resist, because we had rather die innocent than live by any sin." This legion consisted of about 6,600 men, who were all well armed, and might have sold their lives very dear, but they had learned to give to God what is God's, and to Caesar what is Caesar's, and they showed their courage more in dying than they had ever done in the most hazardous enterprises. Maximian, having no hopes of overcoming their constancy, commanded his whole army to surround them and cut them to pieces. They made no resistance, but, dropping their arms, suffered themselves to be butchered like innocent sheep, without opening their mouths, except mutually to encourage one another, and not one out of so great a number failed in courage to the last. The ground was covered with their dead bodies, and streams of blood flowed on every side. Maximian gave the spoils of the slain to his army for their booty, and the soldiers were making merry over them, when Victor, a veteran soldier who belonged not to that troop, happened to pass by. They invited him to eat with them, but he, detesting their feast, offered to retire. At this the soldiers inquired if he was also a Christian. He answered that he was, and would always continue one, upon which they instantly fell upon him and slew him. Ursus and Victor, 2 straggling soldiers of this legion, were found at Solidora, now Solier, and massacred upon the spot. Their relics are still preserved at Solier. There suffered at Turin, about the same time, Saints Octavius Adventitius and Solutor, who are celebrated by Saint Maximus in his sermons, and by Enodius of Pavia in his poems. These martyrs were styled by Fortunatus the Happy Legion. Their festival is mentioned on this day in the martyrologies of St. Jerome, Bede, and others.